Brilliant. Many thanks, Alex. Okay, welcome everyone. Great to see you. Not that I can actually see you, but I'm imagining you're all there smiling, so that would be lovely. I'm going to take you through a focus on your business and a focus on you. So let me start off with just asking a basic question. I'd love to know if you have the the ability to put it in the chat, what your name is and where you're from in the world. It'd just be good to get a sense of where people are calling in from. I think it's mainly across Europe, but it'd be interesting to see where you're from. I'm based in London. Generally, but actually I'm in Lisbon today. I've just been running a women's leadership program yesterday, actually. So yeah, I'm in Lisbon today, hoping to get to see a bit of the sights later, and then home to London tonight. So where are you based at the moment? That would be good to hear.
We do have Geeta. She's from London.
Oh, excellent. Nice to meet you, Geeta.
We have Victoria from Oxfordshire.
Ah, okay. Nice to meet you, Victoria.
Okay. We have Sammy of St Albans. That rolls off the tongue nice and easy.
St Albans, excellent.
Agnes of Wimbledon.
Ah, Wimbledon, excellent. I was there for tennis during the summer.
I bumped into Agnes actually on the weekend. She was. I hope you enjoyed the AFMCP, Agnes. It was good. Okay, cool. I think we're good for now.
Yeah, all right then, lovely. It's good just to get a sense of a few people. So mainly the UK, it would seem at the moment. So that's great. Right. So a little bit about me. I'm Terri McNerney, and I've been coaching leaders and teams for some 25 years now, working in big organizations and then setting up my own business about 15, 20 years ago now. My key focus is helping people find what inspires the best in them. So it's really about working from a place of passion and purpose, so that you're really energized by what you do rather than just going through the motions. So lots more on that in a minute. So for today then, we're going to look at how to appreciate your natural talents and strengths, what comes naturally to you, your DNA, if you like, and to clarify and align with your personal and business purpose. And I've got various ways to help you do that. To better understand what this imposter syndrome is all about, your inner critic, the little voice in the head that befriends us all or annoys us all, practical ways you can actually work with these internal voices, and how to increase your confidence both in yourself and your ability to grow both a successful and enjoyable business. My motto in life is short, let's make the most of it, let's enjoy it. So I don't believe in doing something if it's too much of a struggle and not enjoyable at all. Okay, so if you would like to put in the chat, and if you don't, that's fine, I will just imagine what you might put in. But how would you describe your feelings about your business right now? Just think about the sort of words that you would use to describe your business and how you feel about it. So I'll just give you a few seconds to think about that, your feelings about your business. Yeah?
You can put it in the chat. No, I was just going to say to everyone, they can put their answers in the chat or as a question, and I'll read it out. And kicking things off, Victoria has said, overwhelming but exciting.
Ah, overwhelming but exciting. A nice combination. Yeah. The overwhelm and scariness is in our belly, and if we just move it up an inch or two, it becomes excitement. So that's often a big thing when we have change and challenges.
I think you'll start to see a theme of this in. So Wendy's told us she's newly qualified and she's nervous to get started.
Nervous, okay. Yeah, that's natural when we start something new.
Okay. I think, yeah, so far so good. I think the general feeling would be from most people nervous and trepidation. Yeah. We were going to be nice and fancy about it.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
And Agnes did sort of say she would like to better know how to tailor her business for her liking.
Tailor her business for her
her liking.
Oh, for her liking, yes, absolutely. I'm a supporter of that. Great.
Cool.
Well, one of the things from a lot of the research now is that what we focus on grows. So if you focus on all the negatives in the red box here, the gaps, the complaints from people, maybe the threats, what you can't do, the problems, the challenges, we can get into a bit of a downward spiral. And when we say, but that's reality, actually reality is much bigger than that. Reality is all the green as well. So reality is also about the knowledge we have, the desires we have, the strengths we have, what we're really good at, looking at the resources we have available, the ideas and creativity we might have. Think about past successes, what's worked well in the past, what are the possibilities for the future, etc. So our hopes and aspirations. So if you take both the the red and the green, all of this is reality. So it's just to notice for yourself, where do you tend to spend most of your time? Where do you focus most? Do you focus more on the red or the green? My talk today is going to encourage you to expand out into the green. It's natural that we focus on some of the red. We're human after all, but it's good to try and encourage ourselves to expand and think more about the green, the positives. So positive psychology research shows that if we focus on solving the problems, we might get back to just the basic. It's okay. We're fine. We've repaired the weaknesses. But if we take the problems and transform them into strengths, we can actually flourish. So we've got much more chance of having a much better outcome if we can start to focus on what we do well and how we can do more of it. And it's not the natural way for many of us, because we do have a lot of negative bias. The news, if you think about it, it's always focusing on one disaster or another. So there's a lot of negativity out there. So our challenge is to try and turn it around into what's positive and what can work. So the flip is one exercise that we can do briefly, and I'll just let you work through it at your own time. But if you think of a current business challenge, so you've talked about being nervous at starting something new or being overwhelmed, what is the positive opposite of that? And I'm going to give you a big company example, but it's just a very simple one to understand. British Airways, they had a problem of lost luggage. You won't be surprised to hear I've actually suffered from losing my case and not finding it for a week. So I do know personally what that's like. So they were trying to find a way of giving themselves some goals to aim towards so that they wouldn't lose as much luggage. So the basic thing they came up with to start with was 0 luggage loss. Okay, we won't lose any cases, that's our goal. Now that wasn't particularly inspiring. It was just, okay, let's not lose any luggage. When they tried the flip to find something that was a really positive opposite and more, something that could really generate energy and enthusiasm, they ended up coming up with creating an amazing arrival experience. Yeah. So when you arrive at the airport, you just have an amazing experience. Your luggage is there. It's all streamlined. Nothing goes wrong. So that was the bigger, much more energetic goal that they were going for. So what could you say for your business? You know, if you're overwhelmed and nervous about starting, how could you turn that round into something that would be really energizing for you? You know, an amazing something business, a business that people line up for. I don't know what it is for you. A lot of it will be linked to purpose, which is what we're going to get onto in a minute. But just start to think about how you describe your current business and how you could turn it around into such a much more energizing and inspiring description for you and for your clients. Okay. So we decide what we want to achieve. You have a dream or a vision, and then somehow it doesn't happen. Something gets in the way. So what is that? All right, so let's have a look at some of the reasons that things don't always go to plan. You may well have used something like this in your health coaching, I would call it. I use this in my business and personal coaching a lot. It's a very simple model of the 4 different levels of energy. But if we look at it just simply in relation to your business, spiritual level, that might not work for you, it might, but it's really about the purpose. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you called to do the business that you're currently setting up or running? And then the physical is it's actually happening. So you have a dream, you have a purpose, and it becomes a reality. But somehow things get in the way. And the way I like to describe it, it's our mental and emotional stuff that gets in the way. I get in my own way. Yeah. Our thoughts and our feelings get in the way often. Not always, but often. So for me, it's all about leading your business in a way that's aligned with your purpose, who you see yourself as, your values and beliefs, the capabilities, the skills, the strengths that you have, how you go about things, how you approach things, and the environment in which you're in. So if we have a look at these at different levels, there's a lot on this slide, so don't worry about all of it. But just to give you a flavour, we start at the bottom. Think about your business and what environment would be best for the sort of work you like to do. For example, for me, I like to work with business leaders. I can be self-employed, it can be small businesses, it can be large businesses, but it's business as opposed to anything else. That's the environment I'm happy with. Some people, it might be schools, it might be groups of teenagers, it might be mothers, it could be older people. So think about the environment and the sort of clients that might be within that environment for you. And then the behaviours is, how do you go about your business? What are the sort of ways you like to work with people? Is it coaching? Is it training? Is it some sort of medical assessments like the Genova testing, etc.? How do you like to go about working with these people? And then the capabilities are, what are the strengths and the skills that you particularly have that's really fits well with this whole way of working? And then what are the values and beliefs that will support you as you work through this? And the values and beliefs and identity are the ones that can get in the way of our business often. And we might believe, I can't do that, oh, I'm not worthy, oh, no one wants to see me or hear from me. But that's not necessarily true. That's just the things we tell ourselves. And then the identity, you're a businesswoman. How do you want to be seen? What's your identity? And thinking about where you've come from. If you were, for example, a mom looking after kids and now you're going back to work, your identity will change from being a mother to being a business leader. And it's not that you're all time that, you have different hats, different times. If you used to work in the corporate world and now you're setting up a small business for yourself, again, your identity will change. You used to be an employee in a big company or a smaller company, and now you're a business leader on your own. So you have to think about what that means for you and how you need to show up in your new way. And all of this aligns with your purpose. Why are you doing what you're doing in the first place? What is it that called you to do this business? And if you want to enjoy it and be aligned, you have a purpose that you really believe in, some difference you want to make in the world. You line up with that in who you are and how you show up. Your values and beliefs align with this and support it. You have the skills and strengths and abilities to do what you need to do. You know the way you want to behave and how you want to go about things, and you're in a supportive environment, one that you can thrive in. Yeah, so if all of these are aligned, then you have a great chance of having a successful and enjoyable business. If you have a purpose to make a positive difference in the world of some sort, but you're not showing up in the way that people really believe you mean it, if you've got all this internal chatter going on, which is distracting, if you don't think you've got the abilities and you've still got lots more to learn, if you behave in a way that doesn't show you're confident in leading your business, and or if you're working in an environment that really doesn't support you or that really doesn't feel like you, then you're not going to be aligned and it's not going to flow. Yeah. So you want all of these working and supporting each other. In my 6-month coaching programs, I go through this in detail to make sure you really are aligned. But you can do this yourself, maybe. You know, it depends how far you are in your thinking. But yeah, that's the sort of goal to go for, an aligned business, and aligned you. If you look at, excuse me, I've got a cold, so I'm going to blow my nose for a minute. I got it on the plane coming over here, unfortunately. Okay, so how much attention do you give to your inner critic, that voice in the head, the monkey mind, the inner gremlin, whatever you want to call it? Research shows that 95% of our thoughts are repetitive. Do you know that cycle that goes on and on? You keep going round and round in your head with the same thoughts. And 80% of our thoughts are negative generally. We have a negativity bias. So if you think about it, there's an awful lot of chance for negative thoughts to go round and round in our head. And the thing is, how powerful do you let that inner critic be? I was running a leadership program for women just last week and yesterday as well. And some of the advice that the senior leaders who'd been successful gave was, don't wait till you're ready. You'll never be ready. Yeah. So that voice, oh, I'm not ready. I have more to do. I know it's too much too soon. Don't wait till you're perfectly ready. And research does show, and Alex being the only man on the call probably, that men will often apply for something when they're maybe 30–40% sure that they can do it. But that's fine, I'll make the rest of it work. Women often need to be 100% sure or more, and still they hesitate. You know, so we have this natural way, and I'm generalizing, obviously not everyone, but there's a lot of women who really do feel they have to be perfect, absolutely perfect, before they can do something. So the advice from senior leaders is, don't wait till you're absolutely ready. You'll never be fully ready. Just go for it. Take a risk. And if someone else offers you a piece of work that you don't think you're up for yet, they see something in you. So trust that they see something in you and that you are capable. If they think you're capable, you probably are. And if it feels scary, that can be a good thing. It's an opportunity to learn and an opportunity for growth. Before any presentation or piece of work, I might get a few butterflies flying around, is the way I like to take it. And the way to think about it positively is, you want to get your butterflies flying in formation. Okay, so that they're there supporting you rather than scattered all over and causing a challenge. So some of the drivers that drive this internal critic, this voice in our head, these are 5 which research has shown are very strong in many people, and we all have 1 or 2 in particular. You might have more. So we have the be perfect driver. You know, it's got to be 100% or 110%. You have very high standards for yourself and others, dissatisfied when things don't quite match that standard. And you want it to be right first time, and so you never quite get there because it's never quite perfect enough. The danger here is that you might feel you lose control, that other standards and behaviours aren't quite up to yours. You get overly concerned about things being wrong, and you never get round to achieving your goals because things are never quite perfect enough to get started. Yeah? So that can cause a whole load of internal chatter. Be strong is another one. You find it hard to talk about your feelings, hard to ask for help. You have to do it all on your own. Be strong. You find it hard to admit that you might actually need some help. You might see it as a weakness. You know, I can do it on my own. I don't need any help. I've done that one for sure. And the fears can be that you'd be rejected, or you feel vulnerable and you might be seen as needy. and you regard any failure as a weakness, you know, and so you don't disclose anything to anyone else. You have to figure it all out on your own. And so again, you'll have a lot of voices going on about that. If it's the try harder, it's this work hard, you're never working hard enough, you've got to commit to showing you're really trying, and you talk about how hard things are all the time. Oh, I'm so busy, so much to do, so difficult, because that's what drives you. And your fears might be that you'll be criticised for not caring or taking responsibility. You might be accused of not trying hard enough or not working hard enough, being seen as irresponsible. And you might get involved in a lot of mundane and routine tasks. The hurry up driver is another big one. You're very impatient, rush to get things done, to the next thing. Often there's a pressure to get on with things. You're focused on the end destination rather than enjoying the journey. And here you need that constant stimulation. You're stressed by having too much time to think or silence. Oh my gosh, that's scary. I've got to think about things, or my thoughts are getting in the way. So you're busy, busy, busy all the time. And the irony of this one is sometimes you're so worried about being late for things, and you have to hurry up, that you are late. So it's sort of a strange one, that one. Pleasing people is another common driver. So you find conflict difficult, you enjoy helping people, you put up with things so as not to rock the boat, you don't want to cause that conflict or upset, and you find it hard to give feedback, particularly negative feedback, because you don't want to upset anyone. So you might not say something, you'll keep quiet because you don't want to cause any upset. And you might be stressed by being ignored or criticised, fear of upsetting others. You'll accept work from others and lose touch with your own priorities. So you put others' needs first. And this is a common one in a lot of women I've worked with. And you attempt to read other people's minds, and you give them what you think they need, but actually it might not be what they need. So if you think about this personally, but also for your business, particularly this last one here, if you're giving more and more to your clients and getting what they need and giving them more and more, actually it might not be what they want at all, and you might be doing an awful lot of extra work that's not really needed. So, you know, asking the client what they actually need, but being, you know, vulnerable enough to ask, is a good way to go. So I'm sure some of those will resonate with you, because these are found from research to be very common amongst men and women. Okay, so how much attention do you actually give your inner critic? Let me go that way. That's the thing. The inner critic is the policeman of all those different drivers I've talked about. It's there to protect us, and it does have a positive intent. But if we let it rule us and take over, then we are completely at the power of our inner critic. What we need to do is to notice it and to say, I hear you, thank you, and then put it aside. Because if we keep listening to it and think it's real, we're not going to get much done at all for ourselves or our business. So it's actually there to keep us safe, but it can get very powerful if we let it. So we have to catch it. And sorry, my slide's going the wrong way. There we go. Yeah, so it's about befriending our inner critic. Think about what you really, really want, and what are the voices that come up when you think, I'm going to have a really amazing, successful business where I make such a difference to teenagers in this part of the world, or whatever it is. What comes up is that I can't say that. This is stupid. I don't know how to say it right. No one's going to get what I'm talking about. No one's going to listen to me. People think I'm crazy. I'll be laughed at, ridiculed. You know, someone else has said it better. Who will listen to me? Why would anyone listen to me? These are all very common comments that women in particular come up with when they're talking about their business. And it doesn't help us. So it's noticing what comes up and gets in the way. There's a lovely quote from Marianne Williamson, which you may have heard bits of, and I believe, depending on your age, Nelson Mandela actually used it for his inauguration speech. But if we let the inner critic, that voice in our head, take over, we can stay stuck, play small, keep quiet. And Marianne says that our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? And this bit I think is very important. Playing small does not serve the world. We are all meant to shine. If we are liberated from our fears, our presence automatically liberates others. So if we continue to play small, we're not going to help anyone else. If we can step into our light and shine, we can enable others to do that too. And that's what I'd love for you, to shine and serve others. So the importance of purpose. Who do you want to serve? So if you start looking at your business now, who are the key people? I, as well as many other business owners that I know, have done, oh, everyone, I can serve anyone. But that doesn't help when you're trying to communicate your business message to people. So it's helpful to narrow it down a bit. Excuse me, my nose is a bit blocked here. There we go. So who do you want to serve? So as I've said, I'm serving business leaders, and I'm specialising more and more in women business leaders, because I'm seeing there's a real need for women to develop and step into their own power in a way that's natural for them, rather than trying to become more like a man, which women over the years have tried to do because that's how they've seen the way to being successful. But now I think women can step into their own power in their own way, play into their own strengths. So who do you want to serve? I'm saying women business leaders. Who would your group be? And try and narrow it down a bit, because that does help you be more focused in what you actually have to offer. And then how do you go about your business? What are your strengths? What is your area of expertise? Maybe you've gone through an experience yourself, which you can use to share with others, to say, I've been through this, I know what works. This is how I can help you deal with the same or similar issue. It might be something that one of your family members have gone through, or a friend or something that you know a lot about, that you can specialize in. The more you can specialize, the easier it is to market your business. And then what do you actually do? What's the products and services that you offer? So do you have a coaching program? Is it one-off meetings? Do you have a series of 3 where you meet, you go through a profile, and then you come up with a plan of action? Do you meet people regularly on a monthly basis? Is it a 6-week thing, once a week? Or what is it that you offer? Think about the way you structure your offer. And then the big driver in the middle is, so why do you do what you do? What called you to doing this? For me, I've worked in large companies where I've often been the only woman in the room. I learned to find a way to work with the guys, engineers, accountants, finance, banking. And then over the years, I've found more and more a way to be my own person, using my own strengths, whilst being powerful within that group. And it's become more mixed over the years, fortunately. But often, you know, you will find yourself, depending on the group that you are serving, it might be all women. It just depends. But what's your purpose here? For me, it's helping women be successful in their own natural way. What's your purpose? Okay, so again, I'm going through this very quickly, you know, in my 6-month program, we go into all of this in a lot more depth. But if you know the answers to this, you can get on and do it yourself. So another way of looking at it, to be your purpose sweet spot, the bit which comes in the middle here, is if you know what you're naturally good at, what your strengths are, what comes naturally to you, what are the abilities you even take for granted. If you think about people who say, oh, you're so good at that, why would you help me with that? That's a natural talent, a strength that people recognize you for. So what do other people say you're good at? That's another way of looking at it. Then the passions are, what do you actually love doing? What's really important to you, your values, you know, what drives you in a positive way. So what is that difference you want to make in the world? Is it support your family and make sure you have a great lifestyle together? Is it a group of people that you really want to make a difference to? Teenagers, moms, I don't know what it might be. People with the menopause. There's all sorts of different groups that you can specialize in. So what is that for you? And what is your passion, you know, that will keep you going even when times get tough? This will keep you going. And then if you combine what you're naturally good at with what you love, that's a great combination. If I take some of my natural talents, I started off, my first career was as a maths teacher in secondary schools, 11 to 18-year-olds. So I can do numbers and, you know, formulas and all that good stuff. But when it comes to my accounts, which is a different form, but it's still numbers, I can do it, but it doesn't give me any excitement or passion. So I'd much rather outsource that to someone else who has a passion for it. So I have a very good friend who's an accountant. She loves doing it, so that's great. So over to her. I won't spend my time doing things that don't really give me energy and passion. Now, if you can combine what you love doing, for me, it's coaching and facilitating one-to-one in groups. I love doing that, and it seems to be something I'm naturally good at. And I do love it. Yeah, so those two combine. And then what are the needs that are out there? What are the needs? So for me, there's a lot of needs in companies and individuals to support women leaders to be more powerful in their own natural way. So I've got you know, I can work with customers one-to-one, in small groups and in organizations. What is it for you? Where would you find your ideal clients? Where are the opportunities to actually serve, combining what you do naturally with what you love? Get all three together and you've got a really powerful combination. The fourth bit here, comes from the Japanese Ikigai, which is where a lot of these models have come from. You know, what you love doing, what you're great at, what the world needs. And of course, as a business, you want people to pay you for it. Because if they're not willing to pay for it, then it's not going to be a business idea. But if you can get these three right, knowing what their real needs are, and then you put it together in a way that's aligned for you, you can provide something that people are more than willing to pay for. So I'm a big believer in playing to our strengths, and this is where we can flourish and do our own natural style of things. So in my coaching programs, I get people to take this profile, the strength scope, and it will show you where you're particularly strong. So these purple, dark pink bars are your significant 7 strengths. So this is just one at random. It's not any one in particular. Well, it is, but no one that we're going to name. And so here it would show that in the emotional, there's 4 quadrants. So how good are you at managing emotions? There's how good are you at thinking things through, making decisions? Then there's the execution. How good are you at getting things done? And relationships. How good are you at producing productive relationships where you can really work well with other people? So in this chart, for example, it shows that this person is really high on enthusiasm. Excuse me. So they have a lot of enthusiasm for what they do. And this will come across because enthusiasm is very contagious. So if you're very enthusiastic about what you do, others will pick up on that. Yeah. They're strategic minded, which means they're very conscious of the big picture. why they're doing it, their purpose would come into that. And so they have a clear goal, bigger picture in mind. They're also very creative. So they could find lots of different ways about creating their products and services and how they work with people or meeting that strategic vision. Self-improvement, they love going on training programs, developing themselves, learning new things, which is a way of getting things done. You learn how to do it. And then relationship, they're very 3 bars here. So they're good at developing others, so that could be coaching, facilitating. Empathy, they really understand what other people are going through, and they're great at leading groups of people. So rather than focus on the things that are much less, so emotional control, not very good at emotional control. Looking at efficiency, I'm not very efficient. If you start doing that, you go into your negative spiral, and you can really get that inner critic going full time. So rather than do that, the strength scope approach is you focus on the 7 significant strengths that you have, and how can you use these to run your business. So you can run it by being very enthusiastic, having a very clear strategy, being creative about the way you go about things, learning new things that you need to learn to keep developing yourself and your skills. You can lead yourself and others. You're very understanding of what other people are going through with your empathy, and you know how to develop others to be their best. So you would focus on those strengths to really help you run your business in a way that's true for you. And it is a unique set of strengths, because even though someone else might have these 7, the way they show up in that individual will be very different. And I've had lots of examples of that. So we are all unique individuals. So find your unique style for running your business. And one way you can use these strengths is you can see what you excel at, what others think you're brilliant at, what you're most proud of, and what makes you unique. And then look at what are the opportunities to use these strengths. And you can partner with others to complement your strengths as well as build on your strengths. Then think of your dreams, your aspirations, and what are the results that you want to see in place? How will you know when you've got there? So this is one way of planning your business. Identify your strengths, identify the opportunities that are out there, think big, dream big about what you want to achieve within that area, and how will you know when you've got there? And the more you can write down your plan and see it for real, written down, and using your hand actually uses a different part of the brain, which embeds it much stronger than tapping on a computer. So yeah, I'd get creative and come up with a strategic plan for your business. So yeah, so we can have villains or superpowers. Your thoughts and mindsets, they can get in the way if we let them be the villains, the inner critics, or we can turn them around into superpowers and learn from them and help them support us to move forward. That's what they're wanting to do, really. So we talked about confidence in the opening thing, about how can you be confident. And the more confident you are in sharing what your business is about and what you're about, the more people will gravitate to you, because if you're going a bit apologetic and stuff, people go, oh, she doesn't seem very sure, I'm not going to go with her. Whereas if you can confidently stand in your own strengths and say what you really believe in, people are going to be drawn to you. Yeah. And so a few tips here just to get you started. So know what your talents and strengths are and what you value, what's really important to you. So take time to understand what those things are for you. Surround yourself with positive people. If you notice that everyone around you is, oh, isn't it awful? Oh, did you hear about this? Oh, what a disaster. That will impact you, because emotions are quite contagious. So again, as I said, if you're enthusiastic and positive, people will be drawn to you. If you're negative, people will be repelled, or other negative people will be drawn to them. So just try and think about surrounding yourself with people who have positive messages. Set achievable goals rather than unrealistic goals. Sometimes we set goals that are so big that it's just well, there's different ways of looking at it. So big that we're doomed to fail from the start, or it's so big that, what's the saying, if you shoot for the stars, you might reach the moon. So, you know, there are positive ways of looking at that. Embrace failure. Failure is feedback. Failure tells us that it's not quite right, and we have opportunities to learn from that and build on it. Now, it depends on the environment you're in, but I would encourage you to find environments where you can really fail and learn and build on that. There's a process called design thinking, which a lot of the younger companies, tech companies, are using a lot, and they talk about fail fast. You try something out, doesn't quite work, you learn from it, you move on, rather than, oh my God, it's a disaster, I'm not going to do anything else. Yeah, so embrace failure and learn from it. Practice self-care. That's very important for building our confidence. Look after ourselves. Some women in particular are so busy looking after everyone else that they don't take care of themselves. So give yourself a treat now and again. If you set yourself a goal, a bit of a stretch goal, go and have a manicure, a medical, or what would it be, a facial, I don't know, a walk in the park, a walk with the dog, whatever it is for you. Give yourself a treat when you've done something that stretched you. Speak up for yourself. Practice expressing your thoughts and opinions in a clear and assertive way. Yeah, rather than mumbling or letting your sentences trail off. Practice. You can do it in the mirror. You can practice on your iPhone on your own, and then practice with people that you feel safe with. Take calculated risks. Try something out, a bit like the failure is fine. Try something out and overcome the obstacles. See what happens. Focus on the present moment. We can often be so worried about what's going to happen in the future or what happened in the past that we don't take attention to the right now. So take this moment, because some people would say there only is this moment, and just really make the most of this moment and enjoy it. You know, go for a walk in the park and really notice what's around you, rather than constantly worrying about what went wrong in the past or what might go wrong in the future. Focus on what's going well from the past, what might go well in the future, and what's happening right now that's really good. Celebrate your successes. Anything you do well or that is a success, celebrate it. Do whatever works for you. Bar of chocolate, glass of wine, walk in the park. It's different things for different people. And practice gratitude. There is a lot of research that show that if at the end of each day we can focus on a few things that were really good that day, that will set our mind in a more positive way when we go to sleep, rather than a constant cycle of all the negative things that happened. So start today and watch your confidence soar. It takes practice and a positive intent, I think. Okay, so a lot of these negative emotions and inner gremlins that we have, we do need to let them out, but in a controlled way, I would say. So it's having a safe space to vent is what I call it. I go to Hawaii sometimes on a personal development course, and they have volcanoes there which do vent, and some of them are actually erupting at the moment, but not too massively, but they're looking quite spectacular. Now, if we keep all our emotions in, there's going to come a point where it will erupt. Yeah, so it's much safer to let things out a little bit at a time. But we've got to manage it as well, because if we vent all the time, people get fed up listening to us, we get fed up listening to ourselves. And finding a safe space to vent with support to help you move forward. Okay, so that's not worked out. So what do you want instead? How can we move forward? These are the sorts of things that you want. Psychological safety is a big word, that's a phrase that's around at the moment. So rather than a fear of admitting mistakes and blaming others and less likely to share different ideas, everyone's got to think the same, you get the common knowledge effect, the group think. That's not very safe. Everyone keeps quiet and only says what they think they should say. If you have a place of psychological safety, you can admit your mistakes. It's normal. You learn from your failures. Everyone shares ideas and builds on them, and you have much better innovation and decision making. Yeah. So in the coaching programs that I run, we really do create a great safe space where you can talk through things and learn from each other. I think that's so powerful. And we help you move from a fixed mindset where I know what the situation is, that's it, job done. There's nothing else. That's just the way it is. Changing that to, well, what are the opportunities here? How might I look at things differently? You know, what might be a new potential out there? How can I grow my thinking and always be open to new ideas rather than thinking you know it all? These are very positive and great ways of moving your business forward. So which path do you take if you have a look at these two? So the path of limitation is you focus on your weaknesses, the threats to your business, to you, the problems. It leads to negative emotions and it narrows down your choices to a fixed mindset. You don't trust much, there's fear there, you're drained of energy all the time, and it might lead to a sense of helplessness. You switch off, no belief in yourself, lots of self-doubt, right? Now, that's a very negative spiral, and lots of people do go down that, but it doesn't really help if we want to have a positive business that we love. So be aware and choose the better path, which is the path of possibility. Focus on your strengths, the opportunities, the solutions that you can provide. What are the positive emotions that you can tap into? How can you open up your choices? This will lead naturally actually to trust and hope, and it will boost your energy. And you'll have a sense of powerfulness, you'll feel engaged and self-confident, yeah, which is where we want to be, I think, as women business leaders, most definitely. So when you align your actions with your purpose and passions, success flows. And it's much easier. It's not a hard task all the time running your business. You actually enjoy it. You're doing what you love. You're providing a service that others really want and love. And it's much more energizing for you rather than draining. So get this going, yeah. So everything you want is just outside your comfort zone. So we do need to take one step at a time, because if we stay in our comfort zone, it's very comfortable, but we don't grow and nothing changes. In fact, we start to shrink over time, and the inner gremlin, inner critic will take over, and we won't get anywhere at all. So we need to go to the edge of our comfort zone and just take baby steps, one step at a time, but in a positive direction, because that's where your great business, the great you, lives. Yeah, just outside that comfort zone. Needs to be stretched. I saw this and I thought, techless Terry. I'm not quite techless, but there is, you know, running your own business, particularly online at the moment, there's a lot of fears, and we can get very worked up about, I don't have the ability to run all the tech that needs to happen. We can change that round into, I can learn, I can find out, I might make a few mistakes along the way. There are people out there who can support me. Let's do it. We can do it. Yeah. So if you take a step outside your comfort zone, that's where the magic happens. Yeah. Action is the antidote to villains and gremlins. So take action, one small step at a time. You might have noticed my logo is the North Star, because I'm all about leading on purpose. The North Star has always been the same, which for us is about making insanely great products that really change the world in some way and enrich people's lives. So this is Apple's purpose. A more down-to-earth one, rather than a huge company like Apple, is every day focus on your purpose. Remember why you do what you do. You won't get burnt out because of what you do. You get burnt out because we forget why we do it. Yeah. So think about why you're running your business and let everything flow from there. So if you've got any questions at all, do get in contact. That's my email. I'd love to hear from you. And I will be running a 3-hour masterclass going much more in depth into this, and then a 6-month coaching program later next year. So if you'd like to find out more, click on the QR code or just work your way through there. There'll be more to come later. Yeah, I'd love to support you in growing your best business, inspire the best you and inspire the best business.